Hey, have you ever thought about the date January 6th? It might just seem like another day on the calendar, right after the new year starts. But what if I told you it's a day with some really big secrets that even grown-ups are still trying to figure out? On this day in 2021, something very serious happened at a famous building in Washington, D.C. called the U.S. Capitol. It's a place where important decisions for the country are made. A big, angry crowd went inside, and it was a very confusing and difficult day. But there's so much more to the story than just that one big event. It's like a giant puzzle with lots of hidden pieces. It's kind of like when you're looking for clues to solve a mystery. You have to look closely at all the little details to see the whole picture. The story of January 6th has mysteries, heroes, and even some surprising fun facts that have nothing to do with what happened at the Capitol. Did you know that January 6th is also a big day for TV fans? It's true. On that same day in 2025, the super popular wrestling show, WWE Monday Night Raw, made a huge move to Netflix. And for all you bakers out there, a new season of Kids Baking Championship also started. It's funny how one day can hold so many different kinds of stories, isn't it? So let's get our thinking caps on and be detectives for a little while. We're going to explore some of the lesser-known stories from that day. These are the kinds of tales that don't always make the big headlines, but they are super important for understanding what really happened. We'll look at a mystery that the best detectives in the country are still trying to solve. And we'll talk about some incredibly brave people who stood up to protect others. It's important to learn about these things because history isn't just about dates and facts. It's about people, their choices, and the mysteries they sometimes leave behind for us to solve. Are you ready to dive in? Great. Let's start with one of the biggest unsolved riddles from that time. It's a real head-scratcher that involves a mysterious person, some strange clues, and a situation that could have been much, much worse. This part of the story happened the night before the big event at the Capitol, adding another layer of intrigue to this historic day. It reminds us that sometimes the most important parts of a story are the ones that happen quietly, when no one is watching. Let's go find some clues together and see what we can uncover about this fascinating day. Imagine this. It's the night before January 6th, and the city of Washington, D.C. is quiet. But someone is moving through the shadows, carrying a backpack with a secret inside. This person went to two important buildings, the headquarters for our country's big political groups, the Republicans and the Democrats. There, they left behind 2 pipe bombs. Now, that sounds really scary, and it is. Bombs are very dangerous things. But here is the truly mysterious part of the story. The bombs never went off. They were real, and they could have hurt a lot of people, but for some reason, they just didn't. This created one of the biggest mysteries that the FBI, which is like the country's top detective agency, is still trying to solve today. Who was this person? Why did they plant the bombs? And why didn't they explode? Investigators have looked at thousands of hours of video footage to try and find the person who did it. They know the person was wearing a grey hoodie, a face mask, and a very specific pair of sneakers. They were black and grey Nike Air Max shoes with a bright yellow logo. The FBI even figured out that not very many pairs of those shoes were ever sold, which is a great clue. Even with all these clues, the person's identity is still a secret. It's like a real-life detective show. The FBI is offering a huge reward, $500,000, for anyone who can help them figure out who did it. This mystery is a lot like some other famous unsolved cases in history. Have you ever heard of the Unabomber? He was a man who sent bombs through the mail for almost 20 years before he was finally caught. Or the bomber at the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. It took years to find him too. Sometimes solving a mystery takes a very, very long time. This part of the January 6th story teaches us something important. It shows that even when something big and loud is happening, there can be quiet, secret events taking place that are just as serious. The pipe bomb mystery reminds us that the full story of a historical day isn't always obvious. There are hidden chapters and unanswered questions that curious people like you can continue to learn about. And who knows? Maybe one day a new clue will appear that finally solves this incredible puzzle once and for all. History is always waiting to be discovered. While the pipe bomb mystery was happening in the background, Another incredible story was unfolding right at the US Capitol. This story is about true heroes. When the large, angry crowd pushed its way into the building, a small group of police officers stood in their way to protect the people inside and the building itself. These officers were incredibly brave. They knew it was dangerous, but they did their job to keep everyone safe. Many of them were badly hurt while they defended the Capitol for hours and hours. They showed amazing courage on a very difficult day. One of these brave officers was a man named Brian Sicknick. He was a US Capitol police officer who had served in the military to protect our country before becoming a police officer. On January 6th, he was on the front lines facing the rioters. He was sprayed with chemicals like pepper spray, but he kept on doing his duty. Tragically, Officer Sicknick collapsed later that night and passed away the next day. Doctors said that everything that happened to him on January 6th played a part in his death. His family was very sad, but also very proud of his bravery and his dedication to protecting others. Another hero from that day was a police sergeant named Aquilino Gonal. He was an army veteran who had served in Iraq, and he said that what he experienced defending the Capitol was scarier than anything he faced in the war. He was attacked by the crowd for hours and was hurt so badly that he had to retire from the police force. Sergeant Gonal has spoken out many times since that day to make sure everyone knows that the police officers who were there were fighting to protect democracy. He wants people to remember the courage it took to stand against such a large and violent crowd. The stories of Officer Sicknick, Sergeant Gonal, and the more than 140 other officers who were injured that day are a very important part of the history of January 6th. They remind us that even in the middle of chaos and anger, there are people who will stand up for what is right and protect others, no matter the cost. These officers are true heroes, and their bravery is a secret that should be shared with everyone. They teach us about courage, duty, and the importance of standing together to protect the things we all value. So you see, the story of January 6th is much more than just one thing. It's a day with unsolved mysteries like the pipe bombs, incredible stories of heroes like the police officers, and even fun pop culture facts about TV shows. It's a perfect example of how history is never simple. It's a giant tangled web of different events and people, and there are always new things to learn. Sometimes the most interesting parts are the secrets that take a long time to uncover. And that's what makes learning about the past so exciting, isn't it? It's okay that even grown-ups don't have all the answers yet. The pipe bomber is still a mystery, and people still talk and disagree about what happened that day and why. That's a normal part of history. It takes time for the whole story to come out. Think of it like being an archaeologist who finds an ancient pot. At first, it's just a broken piece of clay, but as you find more pieces and put them together, a picture starts to form. Learning about events like January 6th is just like that. We have to keep looking for pieces and asking questions. That's why it's so important for you to stay curious. Read books, watch documentaries, and talk to your parents and teachers about things you don't understand. When you hear about a historical event, ask yourself, what else was happening at that time? Who are the people we don't always hear about? Are there any unsolved puzzles connected to this story? A curious mind is the best tool a detective can have, and when you're studying history, you are a kind of detective. You are piecing together the past to better understand the world you live in today. So the next time you hear about January 6th, you'll know there's more to the story. You'll know about the brave officers who protected the Capitol, and you'll know about the mysterious pipe bomb case that is still waiting to be solved. Remember that history is a living thing, and there are always new secrets waiting to be unveiled. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and never stop being curious. Because sometimes the biggest discoveries are made by people who simply refuse to stop looking for answers.